Frankie's brother Blackston reportedly went to Kentucky and was hanged for stealing a horse. Blackston, who was about 16 years old at the time of Frankie's hanging, married and had 3 children. He does, however, disappear from the North Carolina census after 1850. Finally, we come to Frankie's brother Jackson. Jackson was a second lieutenant in the North Carolina 58th Infantry in the Confederate Army. And serving along beside him in the 58th were 3 of Charlie Silver's brothers, Colonel Sam Silver, Captain David Silver, and Lieutenant L.D. Silver. Jackson was married and had 11 children. He was also one of the bravest of sheriffs of record in Yancey County. On November 11, 1864, a confrontation took place, and Jackson was killed by a group of Union soldiers. He was beheaded, and his head displayed as a trophy in the town of Bakersville. Considering all things, the Stewart family did dismiss one of the numerous theories for Charlie's death, that of his not being willing to move west with the Stewart family. Another misconception still believed by many is the lonesome ballad admitting Frankie's guilt. Supposedly, Frankie constructed this long, morbid poem while in jail. Also, that it served as a basis for the later popular Frankie and Johnny song. There's no proof anywhere that our legend had anything at all to do with the Frankie and Johnny song. And further, Frankie was a poor, illiterate girl who had nothing at all to do with the writing of her ballad. As in our movie, we understand it was actually sold at Frankie's hanging. Here's another fascinating piece of information about a priceless family heirloom that has been passed down from generation to generation. I'm not going to show it to you, nor will I tell you who the present family guardians are. But it has been seen, and we have it on good authority that it could be authentic. I'm speaking about the axe that Frankie used to kill Charlie. As the legend goes, medical students at the time of Frankie's hanging were eager to acquire her body after her death because female cadavers were very rare. Aware of this, Frankie's father supposedly took extreme precautions in order to keep her body from being stolen from the grave. He reportedly had several graves to be dug in different places before the execution took place. And then, under the cover of darkness, he had all the graves filled up. At the same time, he buried her near the old Buckhorn Tavern, 9 miles west of Morganton. The soapstone markers may be the original markers, or possibly a husband and wife who were also reportedly buried there. As with so many other aspects of this legend, we have numerous stories. Whether or not Frankie really is buried where her marker is does still remain a mystery. However, because it was mid-July, and Frankie's sick little body was probably beginning to decompose in the heat, the likelihood of the Stewart family stopping at the old Buckhorn Tavern, possibly for the night, and deciding to bury her nearby seems plausible. But there is some growing interest in the theory that Frankie may be buried in Macon County. At the time of Frankie's death, this property belonged to Jacob Stewart, Frankie's uncle. Some family members believe that it's possible that Frankie's body may have been brought to this area for safekeeping. On the hill behind those houses are supposed to be several graves. Some of them are babies that were born to Lydia Stewart Moore, Jacob Stewart's daughter. So finally we come to the question of baby Nancy. The following entry is found in later Burke County records. Ordered by the court that Nancy Silver, an orphan daughter of Francis Silver, deceased, being about 5 years old, the 3rd day of November, 1835, be bound unto Barbara Stewart until she's 18 years of age. To receive at her freedom 1 cow and calf, 2 suits of clothes, 1 good bed and furniture, and 12 months of schooling. Now this might seem to be the sad ending to a very tragic story, but not quite. Nancy married David Parker, who died of war wounds in 1865 as a prisoner of war. Nancy had 6 children with David Parker, 4 girls and 2 boys. Then she married again to William Commodore Robinson. They had 1 son. We've been unable to get an exact total of grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and so forth, but certainly there are hundreds. And all of this from the one little blessing of the Charlie and Frankie Silver union. Paul Cardulis, one of Yancey County's most respected historians, took me and his little granddaughter Maria on a tour of the area where Nancy and David Parker lived.
We're standing here in Crabtree Township of Yancey County on Cane Branch. These logs in this barn on the property now belonging to another gentleman, but belonging originally to Nancy Silver Parker. When a cousin, Thad McCurry, when they bought this property from the Silvers heir years ago, he built a new house right here. He dismantled the old log house that had been there, and he moved it over here and saved the logs and constructed him a barn. This would have been the old road right here, the only road on Cane Branch, and it would have went down to the wagon road, and if you make a right turn, you would go on across the mountain towards Marion, McDowell County.
And Kona would have been...
And Kona lays to the north. And so we're actually looking back towards that area right now.
My name is Wanda Henry. I'm a direct descendant of Frankie Silver. Frankie's daughter was Nancy, and Nancy had my great-great-grandmother, which was Myra, and her daughter was Peggy. Her real name was Laura Cansady, but they called her Peggy. And she had my mother, Leela Adams, and this quilt was given to my grandmother Peggy when she got married in 1910. I know Myra helped make it, and possibly Nancy. And when she got married, they just went and got it off the bed and gave it to her.
Another story told by some of the family is that after Nancy was buried here in the Mountain Grove Cemetery in Macon County, her daughter Myra and another one of her children came here and buried a lock of hair, either at the base of Nancy's grave or near it at an unmarked grave. It was black hair, believed to be Frankie's. With new information turning up all the time, it's been difficult to finish this documentary, but I must mention one more thing. 74 letters from David Parker to his wife Nancy are in the possession of Nancy's great-grandson Lester Gregory. We understand that his grandson is currently transcribing these letters to be published as an academic piece. There is wonderful information in these letters, and I'm sure that it will be made available at some point in the future. For almost 170 years, the story of Frankie Silver has been told around the firesides and homes all across western North Carolina and beyond. And through these many years, it's become impossible to always separate the truth from fantasy. Our version is merely an attempt to present a possibility of how these events took place, and to share a few of the facts that we do have at this time. We do know one thing for sure. On July 12th, 1833, Frances Stewart Silver was hanged in the state of North Carolina. Not necessarily, as legend would have it, the only woman, or even the first woman, but without question, the most famous.
This dreadful dark and dismal day has swept my glories all away. My sun goes down, my days are past, and I must leave this world at last. Oh Lord, what will become of me? Am I condemned? You all now see, to heaven or hell my soul must fly, all in a moment when I die. Judged on hell has my sentence passed, these prison walls I leave at last, nothing to cheer my drooping head, until I'm numbered with the dead. The jealous thought that first gave strife to make me take my husband's life, for months and days I spend my time thinking how to commit this crime. And on a dark and awful night I put his body out of sight. With flames I tried him to consume, but time would not admit it done. You all see me and on me gaze. Be careful how you spend your days, and never commit this awful crime, but try to serve your God in time. My mind on solemn subjects roll, my little child, God bless its soul. All you that are of Adam's race, let not my faults this child disgrace. Farewell, good people, you all now see what my bad conduct's brought to me, to die of shame and of disgrace before this world of human race. Awful indeed to think of death, in perfect health to lose my breath. Farewell, my friends, I bid adieu. Vengeance on me must not pursue. Great God, how shall I be forgiven? Not fit for earth, not fit for heaven, but for little time to pray to God. For now I try